and we're now moved to what promises to be a very exciting part of our program today. We're going to screen the 4 videos which received the most audience votes in the campaign, Business Forward's campaign, titled, "This is how I moved my business forward." We will, after the videos, we will speak to the amazing people behind these businesses. We will screen one video, take a question, one video question, and we are going to start with the 4th most voted for video. So shall we move to the videos, please?
So the idea behind With Locals was connecting people, connecting travelers to locals around the world in order to bridge the cultural gap. And we connect them with travelers to give them the opportunity to show their city and give travelers the opportunity to explore and experience a city through the eyes of a local. We started expanding, we started growing, and January 2020 was our best month ever in terms of sales, in terms of number of experiences that and connections that we made between travelers and locals around the world. And then February 2020 was not. How do we pivot? What do we do? The general rule was, you know, if you think it's going to work, try it. Always try it. I mean, as a startup, trial and error is at the heart and the core of everything you do. There was an outlook in travel saying, okay, when people start traveling again, there's going to be domestic travel. So people are not going to travel away from home, but they're going to travel locally. So let's try to find a way to approach the domestic travel market. Another area that we started working on was going virtual. So not everything translates. So we had to make sure that the experience translates, and that's where the interactivity ideas came in. Businesses solved super quickly, that was their priority, for the business continuity issues. But the employee engagement and social connection between teams still, and until today, is still something that companies and teams who are working remotely are struggling with. And that's the space that we said, we're going to occupy this space. We're going to be here. This is what we're going to focus on, and we can really help. So we started developing this product, started testing, started talking to companies and businesses, testing out, working with different companies, trying to get them on board and get them to try this. And it took a while. Agility and flexibility continue to be our best friends forever. I really preach this. I really hope more companies embrace the make more mistakes culture and learn from them, like encourage mistakes. And I hope that over the next year and two, we make new mistakes and learn from them and adapt and move on.
And we have here with us Sharif Abaza. Thank you very much, Sharif. And can we see Sharif? Because I'm not seeing him. Oh, yes. Yes, you're here. Thank you very much. And I have one question for you. Actually, it's 2 in 1, which is post-COVID. How do you see your business developing? Will you keep the virtual aspect? What will it be like? And what's the one lesson that this COVID year has taught you?
So, yeah, thank you for the questions. First off, yes, post-COVID, we really believe that this business model is here to stay. I mean, we've done enough research to know that post-COVID, the remote work situation and the flexible working situation is not going to be much different from what it is now, at least in the US and in Europe. Some other parts of the world are really pushing more for getting back to the office and working in person, but a large portion of the market that's the addressable market for us. I mean, you look at companies like Google, like Dropbox, General Motors, even in the US, these are companies that are big and have gone virtual first, remote first already. They've announced that no matter what happens, no matter how people decide to go back to the office or not moving forward, they're going to go virtual first, which means a significant portion of the people who work in these companies are going to have the flexibility to choose to be virtual or not. We do believe that the future is going to be hybrid. So there's going to be a large number of people that are going to be having the option to choose to work remotely, and a large number of people that are going to want to go back to the office for the physical connection, for the interaction with their colleagues, and a large portion in between is going to be in between those two. Companies are also going to enjoy the flexibility of being able to have access to talent location independent, which means that companies can hire anywhere in the world and not really look at the geography as a binding factor for where a person is. And that means that virtual interactivity still continues to be, for those companies, a major and very important thing. So yes, they've continued, like I said, and like you heard in the video, business continuity, whether it's Slack or Google Suite or Microsoft Teams or whatever the platform that they're using to engage and interact with each other on a day-to-day basis, that's solved for. But how they interact with each other, how they remain engaged, how they how can they stay connected socially, how they stay connected to the company culture and to each other as a team, remote team building and team bonding activities. These are things that companies are going to continue, we believe, are going to continue to need. That's going to evolve, and we're also going to need to evolve with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we have the next video, please?
At the Works, we try to do events from different sectors. So one, we cater to corporate clients. Two, we have our own platforms which we build and develop. Three, we manage as well content for other conferences. And we do concerts, but outside. Our business is all about networking. Our business is all about people mingling, and our business is all about human interaction. Come COVID, zero human interaction. When it came to clients' events and commissioned events, we came up with solutions. We needed people to connect differently. So when Ramadan came, we came up with solutions for iftars and suhoors where we could actually connect people and give them the iftar experience with the entertainment and everything, having the food arriving at the same time and engaging them in a certain way, and also showing them that everything was clean and done well and protected and safe. And when it came to our platforms, we did two things. We had to, like the rest of the world, move to virtual. We had to do something we were so afraid of doing, which is hold a virtual event. We made sure people would want to come back, because in the end of the day, I'm home. And if the session is not interesting, I'll just close my computer. For the first time, we had viewers from 17 countries. It was mind-blowing. Corona put us all on our toes. And it taught us that nothing is granted, plans have to be made. We ventured into virtual, which is something we knew was there and has been there forever, and we were really scared to venture into, which made us definitely consider the fact that moving forward, it will always be hybrid. We need to exist online for the people who are interested in our content from other countries. The silver lining is, when faced with a pandemic, there's always a way out.
Thank you, May.
Hello?
Are you with us? Yes. Thank you very much. Really fascinating. And I wanted to ask you, you say that we're moving into a hybrid world, and post-pandemic and virtual is still going to be part of your mix. Do you see this as something like the creative summit? Do you see this, the creative industry summit? Do you see this as moving online from now on? A lot of people talk about online and how much there will be a place for online, but will there still be a place for human in person? In your, what do you think?
I think human interaction can never die. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the two things. Let's talk about online and let's talk about human interaction. My business is all about connecting with people, it's all about people mingling and all about people knowing you, networking. So the very fact that it's as an industry, it's dead now, it has to come back. We've seen that in summer. If we talk about Sahel, everybody forgot about Corona and everybody was mingling and connecting. So human connection is needed in life in general. So it will come back one way or another. We will connect either by learning to social distance or learning to work and pivot in the new world order way, but it will come back. So humans will need to connect to live. Yet, when it comes to creative industry, as I said earlier, it's gonna have to be in a way or another hybrid. So there will be the physical presence, and we will exist physically when the times allow, and it will continue to be available on the digital sphere. Because honestly, the silver lining is it has opened us up to, yani the very fact that 17 countries were viewing, remove Egypt, 16 new countries were watching us, then we need to continue and exist to on the virtual sphere. It will be hybrid, yes.
Great, thank you very much. And let's move to the next video. And I would like to also invite our panelists to comment. I know I've been asking the questions so far, but if any of our panelists would like to come in, or I will invite you all at the end to comment and to ask questions to the amazing business people who we're hosting today.
I discovered the chimney cakes. I started to speak with the business owners there in Prague. Then when I returned back to Egypt, I started to do my study, my research, my homework. I started to speak with business owners in F&B, started to collect some data. The idea was to start with a food truck. I traveled to Slovenia to take the course there. Pandemic came. After it, I decided to change what I'm doing, that I would start with delivering, and I was against delivering. I took the training in February. I started in March delivering. It was the only option available to start the business. I took it as a way to overcome this situation. So that was the idea, was to send to food bloggers at the beginning to gain trust of people. It was also challenging, to inform the people what is chimney cake. It's a new thing. I woke up in the morning. I started doing the dough itself and started rolling. My sisters, they helped me a lot in it. Then at 4 or 5 p.m., I started delivering it with my driver, and then my driver and me and my friends, we went to deliver every day. The food truck, I don't know what should I do with, and it's really expensive. It was like 300,000. So I started contacting people who's working with, real estate companies, because I want to open in Sahel. For startups or for small businesses, it's really hard to approach any big companies like Amar. Even if I'll not win money, I'm building my brand name. And also you get a good deal in the pandemic. I had a prime location there in Marassi. The next step was to search for a place in Cairo. After joining Marassi, everyone gave me the green light to join them. The country's doing good, alhamdulillah, at Arkan. Owning a business, you have to be dedicated 100%, I believe.
Thank you very much, Omar. And let me ask you again, you're a very young entrepreneur. What guided your decision-making?
What guided my decision-making? So my mentor for this was my dad. He helped me a lot with, my dad, he's an entrepreneur, he's an engineer. I'm an engineer, I'm a civil engineer, which helped me a lot in starting my business. I really wanted to start a business. I thought about it a lot. The idea came when I was traveling to Prague. I started discovering a different thing that we don't have in Egypt, and in Egypt also, like the F&B sector is really promising in Egypt, because as you know, the pandemic came. The F&B business or the F&B sector wasn't affected, wasn't like, it was the only sector wasn't affected from the pandemic. So I started working on it. It was a new idea. I started doing my homework and research in it. The pandemic came. I was supposed to open the first branch in my university. I'm still an undergraduate student. Everything changed. I have to, as I mentioned in the video, I changed the plan. I started delivering the chimney cakes. I started doing my marketing plan, and everything was changed. So what made me do that is I really wanted to do a different thing, a thing that I have passion in it, which is owning a business. As owning a business and going every day to work now, for me, it's not going to work. It's as if I'm playing a game for me. So I really enjoy what I'm doing, and the pandemic really helped me a lot.
And what do you see? How do you see the business developing post-pandemic?
Post-pandemic, now it's doing well, alhamdulillah. It's I believe the pandemic gave me, like, I'm talking for my business. The pandemic gave me a great push to start my business. And now after, like, people like are getting used to Corona, and they starting like going out and hang out. So post-pandemic, it's doing well, alhamdulillah, because before, like during the pandemic or before the pandemic, as in the start of the pandemic, people were scared to try new things, and they heard about it on the social media. But now post-pandemic, they have the chance to try it.
Right. Thank you very much. And we now move to our last video, the one that received the most votes, the training hub.
احنا واحدة من القطاعات اللي اتأثرت جدا بصورة سلبية مجال التدريب والاستشارات. احنا في تريننج هاب زينا زي كتير من الشركات حصل لينا دروب، لانه اغلب التدريبات بتاعتنا بتتم داخل القاعات، وكان قدامنا ان احنا نتحول الى الزوم تريننج او الاونلاين تريننج، وكل الناس بتعمله. مدارسنا كل اولادنا نايمين دلوقتي على الاونلاين بلاتفورم. لكن احنا اللي عرفنا نعمله واللي فرق فعلا معانا ان احنا عرفنا نعمل هايبرد بورتل يقدر يخلي الناس تاخد التريننج وتبقى انتراكتيف. لازم يخش على هايبر لينك وهو بياخد التريننج ويكليك اسئله مش صعبه، بس كانت بتضمن انه يبقى فولي اتنشن، انه دايما مركز معانا، مش مولع الزوم وبيعمل شاي او نايم. الطريقه دي فرقت قوي مع شركات وبنوك جوه مصر وبره مصر، عملت لنا الحمد لله مش هقول يعني بزنس خلانا ننجح قوي، لكن على الاقل قدرنا نسستين ان احنا نكيب البزنس بتاعنا جوينج. قدرنا نبقى من الشركات اللي كانت التجربه الصعبه ليهم قدروا انهم يخرجوا منها بادد فاليو. اتمنى ان السنه الجايه تبقى على بلدنا وعلى شركتنا وعلى مصر والعالم كله احسن ان شاء الله، وتبقوا في خير وسلام. اشكركم.
Sharif Nasser, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you one question, and then I'll invite our panelists to participate and to tell us what caught their attention most about these businesses. But I just want to ask you, this interactive training, do you see yourself going back to in-person training, or will the growth be in the virtual aspect of the business?
First of all, I would like to thank you. It's an honor to be with you. And after this legendary people, starting from Dr. Boutros Ghali to all those successful people, going back to your question, yes, of course, we will, inshallah, we will be back. And we started already with an distant awareness and social distant activity to start with 20% to training. This physical training is our main training, and that's why I've been deeply affected as one of the sector, as I said in the movie or the small video. Training is the one of the most sector has been badly affected by this pandemic. However, we tried a lot of idea, crazy one, starting from one, my wife got it out of the box, getting the car cinema to deliver training to people within their car and screen training to virtual training. We try all our best to go out of the box, and we created this dual system, or I can call it hybrid online and interactive training to sustain the business. I'm not saying that we are getting huge or we get benefit, but at least we sustain the business. Some threats become an opportunity. Some threats become an opportunity because when we stop the face-to-face training and our potential or targeted customer was only Egypt, we starting our virtual training, and now we are hitting Gulf. So instead of having a small potential customer or target audience within 70 million, our target, or what population we are targeting Egypt, we now are targeting the whole Arab nation. Now we have a customer from Saudi Arabia, from Emirates, from Oman, from Kuwait, and this become an opportunity. And this, I can say it, the threat become an opportunity.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite our three panelists now to comment or to ask questions. We have the four entrepreneurs here, and who would like to start? Dr. Hala?
Yes, Heba, thank you so much. طبعا congratulations, most voted for startups. It's really, we're very, very proud that you have made it forward through the tough times of last year. What I want to comment here is actually a point that maybe will touch base to the event business, the training, and with locals. This might be a little bit away from the F&B. Is that, of course, as we have discussed during the event, is that digital innovation and embedding digital transformation in every aspect of your businesses, trying to move everything online. And as you said, despite it brings you lots of opportunity because it opens you up to the international markets. So if you are a training or you're event organizing, I can use you as a training center. However, I can go and have a training with MIT or an international organization. But I would love to highlight that what have you done regarding this opening up to the international markets? Its competition is tough. Of course, it has opportunity depending on how much you have planned for it and ready to open up, whether it is providing training, whether it is a platform and a platform event, a digital platform for events, whether it is travel and international exposure to traveling and visiting other countries virtually. But it opens up. Now your market is not only Egypt. When you are on a digital platform on the cloud, your market is the whole globe. I wanted to hear from you, what have you done? Have you thought about it? What are your plans to be ready for this tough competition in the future? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hala, for your question. Let me brief it in 3 points. First of all, that we were ready by the digital marketing team. And this was mainly for Egypt. To tell you the truth, we were not ready for the international or the Arab world market, but we had our perfect and professional digital marketing. All what we did, that we direct our campaign and shifted from targeting the Facebook ads or the search engine optimizer to the Egyptian market to make it wider, and we start to hit the Arab world. Yes, of course, there is competition higher, but we have an edge. Our currency, our pricing module, and we have, let me say, one of the best trainer and instructor, not because I'm one of those who deliver in the AUC, but I have a lot of colleagues. They can, being on the international matrix or standard, they're not less than any other instructor or trainer. So we can deliver a good training and consultancy with a better price. That's why, being in a competitive market, yes, of course, we have a lot of competition, but there are pricing module give us a better opportunity.
Thank you. Can I invite May Salama to comment on this, because you're also in the same situation, I understand.
Sure.
Yes,
Sure.
thank you very much. I would love to. Okay, so Dr. Hala, actually, a key driver would be content. And what we did from day one, when we stayed home in March, we did a lot of studying and a lot of research and a lot of watching, and we were like online worms, watching every single piece of content out there, every webinar, every concert, following up with all the news. And there were some challenges. Yani, I have to say, we never expected 17 countries. We were targeting some Arab countries, but we also reached out. Yani, I'll talk to you about how we reached out to some countries, and I'll talk to you about content. So we reached out to networks and partners and people from other countries, and we shared with them the agenda. We shared with them special promo codes and content synopsises so people could be interested to join. But the content, going back to the content had to be a driving factor. People were, in our case, we're never going to come for the money, and we're never going to come for the fact that I have a virtual conference, because they were out there, they were all over the place. So when we looked around, we made sure that, one, the agenda was formulated in a way that was not long, and it gave a little bit of time in the middle where you could just go relax, go to the bathroom, grab something to eat, and come back. But it also had to make you want to come back. And hence, we did touch on matters like COVID, but from a different perspective. We looked at how everyone was saying it, and we tried to say it differently. We tried to, one, stick to our DNA and the nature of being the Creative Industry Summit. So looking at creative ways of handling things, but also talking about current in a new way. So we talked about office solutions, future office solutions, and how can you cater your office to working from home or working from the office with space. We brought on board someone like Sir Martin Sorrell, who has never really, and Rob Riley, who never really spoke to this region. So they were very interesting to this region to see. There was a panel that had 6 people from 6 different countries, ranging from a woman who runs an advertising agency in Riyadh to an ECD from Malaysia. And the topic was quite actually engaging. So we tried as much as possible to make you want to stick around and listen to something new. And that was really the challenge. And it wasn't about our point of view, it was more about consulting. We talked to everybody we know. We asked people abroad and people locally, is this interesting? Would you want to see this? Would you want to see the speaker? And we had to make sure that it was engaging enough. And at the end of every day, there was like a small celebration, you know, the segment where we sang and danced at home and just enjoyed some music. So we needed it to be engaging, and there's a reason to come back. So content.
Thank you very much, May. And if I can also invite Winslow Sargent, would you have any question for our entrepreneurs?
Well, thank you, Heba. This has been fascinating, just listening to the 4 presentations. There are 2 things that stand out. 2 companies, virtual companies where you can deliver your product online, and then there are 2 food service companies where you have to actually deliver a product to end destinations. And so, but I guess what wraps all 4, we become a logistics type society. We have to deliver a product somehow or a service. And so my question to each one of you is that as you innovate and as you build your base and build your product, how do you protect your brand or your IP? Well, because on the web, everyone's a copycat. Now in Instagram, there's this whole concept of a blue badge, or there's something to say, well, this is the original, so that there are those out there so they're not going to copy you. How do you brand yourself such that your customer and those who want to buy from you or visit your site know that you are the original in terms of what you're doing, and not be fooled by someone else?
So who would like to start by answering? Sharif Abaza, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. So I can jump in, and I think I'll echo something that May was just saying as well, which is I think the content is a major differentiator here. And once you've owned that content, for us at least, once you've owned that content and you've delivered it to the best of your capability, and in our case, that content is very unique. We turned our model of having 2,500 tour guides around the world. Those tour guides were individual people with skill sets, with knowledge, with passions about certain topics. And we took those passions and we took those people and took those topics and converted them into virtual experiences. So now instead of going to Sagrada Familia in Barcelona and having a tour with a sculptor who has her own work in the Sagrada Familia, you're doing a virtual experience with that same person who's taking you through a virtual tour of the Sagrada Familia. Now, this is not something that is easily replicated. You have to have access to that talent. You have to have access to that content in order to be able to do that again. Everything else around that, I think in terms of branding, yes, for sure. But we're also startups. We're in the process of building and developing those brands. And for us, the brand is a spin-off of With Locals, right? With Locals is still at heart a tours and activities and travel company. But with the new With Locals for Business, this new brand that we came up with, you know, it's a work in progress. The name itself can change, but the content and the meat of what we deliver, that's how we protect ourselves from copycats and so on, by ensuring that we're true to the nature of what we set off trying to deliver to our customers around the world.
Thank you, Sharif. And Mohammed Yusuf, would you like to come back, and do you have any comments or questions?
Well, yeah, I have a quick comment, and I'm going to borrow a question that you asked us and present it to the people on the panel. The first comment, it's really obvious now for me that all of the people who presented and the businesses that have been presented, they are all fall under one category that's been studied a lot, which is opportunity entrepreneurs. people who are well educated, they have connections, they have the funding, and they can actually have ideas and can spot opportunities in the market, and they grasp it. Okay, and this type of entrepreneur, or those types of entrepreneur, will actually need certain policy measures when trying to help them versus what we call and say necessity entrepreneurs. So it is very much interesting for me to. I'm going to ask two questions. First of all, I would like to know, the backgrounds. Have any of the people worked in either multinationals from before or not? And because that translates to me into something important for the future as well, that I will tell you about. Second question would be: there's one thing that you want the government to implement in order to help you and I will come back comment on the first question.
Right, so can we have a quick word from each of our business leaders in response to Mohammed Yusuf's questions, and then we'll wrap up. Let's start with Omar Arfi, who we haven't heard from.
Yeah, hello. So my background is I'm a civil engineer. I'm still undergraduate. I study in the German University in Cairo. What do I need from the government to implement? Is a system to help the entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs like me, within like taxes, within like, how much money do you pay to open a new company? And I paid a lot of money to open, like to set up some papers. I have to have like a legal accountant. I have to have a lot of stuff at the beginning, and I'm still young, and I do pay a lot of taxes. And I believe it's not fair that I'm being compared to big companies that I pay the same taxes. So as a help from the government, they should do a certain tax, I don't know, a tax system for young entrepreneurs. I don't know, maybe they put the criteria of the age, the business, but it's not fair to pay that. Like, for me, that's a lot of money to pay for papers, to have a legal accountant, to have to pay the taxes on the profit every year. That's for me a big hassle for me, and for me, I don't know, I don't have the know-how how to do it, to pay the taxes, and it's not easy. So I have to get the legal accountant, and they take a lot of money from it. So that's what I need from the government.
Thank you. And shall we hear from Sharif Nasr on the same question?
Yes, of course. First of all, my background, Muhammad, I was the training head for the retail banking in Barclays before leaving Egypt or being sold to the Moroccan bank. I was the head of training for the retail banking and the business development manager for the assets product for the bank. This is for the first half of the question. The second, what I'm asked from the government or the country, I'm always have a dream that one day the country will assign a ministry with the title of sales manager. He sell Egypt capabilities and Egyptian businesses and Egyptian tourism. He's a sales manager mentality or a sales manager background with a ranking or a title of ministry, or his job that he's doing a sales to the Egyptian capability and business.
Thank you very much. And May?
Yes, hi. Okay.
Hi.
My background, I think I shouldn't be the one, I shouldn't be talking about this really, but anyways, my background is entirely advertising and marcom. I recently moved into events when I opened the company with my partner, who is way more professional when it comes to event management. She's much stronger than me. So I handle the communication, the branding, and all of that. So yeah, that's my background. All the companies I worked in, by the way, are local, non-multinational. I was lucky enough to be in either very big local agencies when I joined them at the time, or the flagship was one, without mentioning names, that I joined when it was starting up, and I was there for plenty of years, where I learned a lot and worked on several local and multinational and international brands that weren't even in Egypt. So no, I was never in a multinational, but I was always in an environment where I was able to learn a lot on the job. And that's, I think I was very lucky. It's entirely communication and marketing and account management, which I believe has helped me a lot in terms of knowing how to handle people and read people. And that's it when it comes to my previous knowledge. And my education has nothing to do with advertising or events. It's all on the job. And what do I need from the government? I think we're actually moving in very good steps when it comes to our field. So we're going in the right direction. But I would love to have a regulatory body where, because event management is a science. It's not an ad hoc job. In some parts of the world, people have to be certified, just like doctors are certified to work in events. Because in the end of the day, if you're running an event, you're in charge of lives. So you need to be capable. When you set up a stage, it has to be done in a certain scientific way. When you put up a screen, it has to be measured with in wind and all that. And so it is a science. So maybe one day we can have a body that makes sure everybody working in the scene is basically, capable.
Thank you, May. And Sharif Abaza, shall we have the last word from you?
I'll be very quick. So I'm very similar to May. Again, I don't have experience in a multinational. I've actually been an entrepreneur for the better part of the last 16 years. And yeah, I studied computer engineering, but I've not done that job for a day in my life. I've been in areas of events and marketing and advertising and tech startups and product management for the last 16 years on and off with different businesses. I'm in a different situation than the other founders simply because I have actually never owned a business in Egypt. I've operated outside Egypt for my entire career, and I've always wanted to go and set up a business in Egypt. When I ran for 12 years, I ran an event management company in the Middle East out of Dubai. And I've always wanted to set up a business in Egypt. And what stopped me every single time was that I didn't know the heads or tails of it. The communication was not transparent. And so I guess, things are going in a better direction when it comes to transparency around business formation and cost structures and regulations in Egypt, but it's still not there. And that's the one thing that always stopped me from going down to Egypt and setting up a branch for my operation there, is I always felt that I don't know enough and it's not transparent enough.
Well, thank you, Sharif. I hope the experiences of the others will encourage you. And we've now reached the end of our time. So it remains for me to thank our panelists and to thank the entrepreneurs who took part in the competition, and of course, the audience for their presence and participation. I wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you very much.